Lee, the sexual harassment scandal surrounding former San Diego Mayor Bob Filner was a sordid chapter in this city's history. What made you want to resurrect it and write this book?
Amita, this is an important story that needs to be told for several reasons. The primary one is that people deserve to know how their government operates. While the media covered this scandal relentlessly, there was so much going on behind the scenes that I think the people need to know, particularly in an election cycle, what was going on so they know how their government works. And if they want to change it, they can.
Name one thing very quickly that would shock people about what went on behind the scenes.
There have been a lot of reports in the news lately about whether the mayor's office was bugged. And I'm here to tell you, and I say it in the book, it was. I was there when our consultant came in and swept our offices. I saw the devices that detected the eavesdropping, and I know that it happened.
But there were denials in other quarters that this ever happened.
There are statements that when the police chief came in later and did a sweep of the bugging, there was no evidence that the bugging was still ongoing. But my belief is that as soon as we found out, the eavesdroppers knew we found out and they stopped. So the police chief's story makes perfect sense in that context.
Okay, I want to move on. You were Bob Filner's legal advisor, and then you became his chief of staff just as women started coming forward with their stories alleging Bob Filner had sexually harassed them. You had a job to do, and you're a woman. What was that like for you personally? Were you torn?
Of course I was. I had every reason to believe that the women's allegations had some validity, but I also believed in the process. I believed that they had a process where their allegations and claims would be vetted. Bob Filner would get a chance to defend himself, and through that process, the truth would come out eventually. In the meantime, we had a city to run. We had citizens who needed services, and I was there to ensure that the agenda they elected Bob Filner to carry out continued so long as he was mayor, and unfortunately it wasn't that much longer.
So you said that you hope that by writing this book, it helps eliminate sexual harassment in the workplace, but given the fact that you stood by him, are you the best person to carry the torch on this issue?
Well, Amita, I think when you read the book, you'll understand I didn't stand by him. I stood by an agenda. I stood by the people of San Diego to ensure that they continued to receive the government that they voted for, despite the very fallible mayor who took up the gauntlet to advance the agenda. You'll find from the book, importantly, that there came a moment when my hardest job was protecting the mayoral staff from Bob Filner himself.
Very quickly, what are you doing now?
I'm doing some consulting work for a few political campaigns behind the scenes, and I'm also back to giving legal advice to a few high-tech and telecom clients.
Okay, we're going to wrap it there. Thank you so much, Lee Burdick.
Thank you for inviting me.